The championship weeks of pro football are upon us, but the battle for first place in the Eastern Division is already over. It ended on Thanksgiving Day. The Houston Oilers played the Kansas City Chiefs, while in New York, the Jets called a huddle in front of the TV set, hoping for an Oiler loss. That one loss that would clinch first place for the Jets. The New Yorkers were not disappointed. There is a 2-year-old flag in Kansas City that tells you when the Chiefs were the champions of the AFL. But on Thanksgiving Day, the Houston Oilers were fighting for their professional lives against the Chiefs. The Oilers had to win the game for the slimmest chance at the Eastern Crown. Houston's early passing attack was outstanding, and they moved easily into Chiefs territory. The Oilers' ground attack was not as mobile, as the Chiefs' front four, led by number 86, Buck Buchanan, smothered the running game. Houston's passing took them inside the Chiefs' 15, but excellent coverage in the secondary and an amazing four-man rush cornered Oilers quarterback Pete Beathard, and he was thrown for a 25-yard loss by number 87, Aaron Brown. After a scoreless first period, Lynn Dawson attacked Houston's strength, their pass defense. Number 33, W.K. Hicks, intercepted. The Oilers now had excellent field position, but again it was the Chiefs' defense that saved their scalps. Number 51, Jim Lynch, tripped Beathard on third down, and the Oilers had to settle for a 39-yard field goal by Wayne Walker. Trailing 3-0, the Chiefs again attacked Houston's strength, but this time with success. Robert Holmes carried to Kansas City's 46. Tight end Fred Urbanus took the Chiefs to the Oilers' 37. Then it was time for the bomb. Mike Garrett took it at the 20 and scored the first touchdown of the day. The Chiefs had a 7-3 halftime advantage. Trailing and unable to run against the Chiefs, the Oilers had to pass. Number 42, Johnny Robinson, picked off the deflected ball, and the Chiefs were in charge. Once again, Dawson went against the Oilers' strength, and again he was successful. Houston's defenders gambled on the interception and lost. John Pitts scored easily, and Kansas City had a 14-3 lead. Houston came back in style. Beathard threw from his own 25. 55 yards downfield, Jim Byrne grabbed it, and Houston was now behind only 14-10 going into the fourth period. Lynn Dawson coolly appraised the situation, looked over his potential receivers, and picked John Pitts, number 25. Pitts' assignment, a fly pattern straight down the sidelines for the insurance touchdown. The Chiefs held the Oilers for the remainder of the game, and thus ended Houston's reign as defending champs in the East. But if Kansas City wants to raise another flag in Municipal Stadium, they'll have to do it over the bodies of next week's opponents, the San Diego Chargers. In their first game as Eastern Division champions, the New York Jets showed why they deserve that title. And although the Dolphins enjoyed their share of success, they were playing with a time bomb. Joe Namath passes to George Sauer, number 83, and Don Maynard, number 13, who went 54 yards for a touchdown, gave the Jets a 7-3 lead. The bomb continued to tick as number 26, Jim Richards, returned Larry Seipel's punt 37 yards, and Joe Willie passed to Pete Lammons, his tight end, for the touchdown. A second look at the scoring play gives a good example of Namath's ability to perform under pressure. But Miami did not handle the time bomb any too gently, as the running of number 21, Jim Kick, set up the defense for a Bob Greasy to Gene Milton touchdown, which made it 14-10 at the half. In the third quarter, the Jets did not score, and the Dolphins continued to handle the bomb as if it were a dud. Greasy's running and his pass to number 35, Stan Mitchell, set up Jim Kick's plunge, which put the Dolphins ahead 17-14. Afraid that the cold had stiffened Namath's knees during the long Miami drive, Coach Weeb Eubanks sent in Babe Pirelli, who had the blasting cap that set off the jet explosion. New York scored 21 points in 6 minutes. Two touchdown passes went to Don Maynard. The second score was set up by a Miami fumble. In this game, Don Maynard passed Baltimore's Raymond Berry and established a career receiving record of more than 9,300 yards. The Jets' last score came on a juggling catch of 40 yards by Bake Turner, number 29, as New York rolled over Miami 35-17. The Boston defense really exploded on Sunday against the Bengals. In fact, they held Paul Brown's Chargers to a meager 212 total rushing yards and showed the Fenway Park fans that a good defense is very hard to beat. Early in the game, Bengal quarterback John Stofa barely escaped from his end zone on an attempted pass. On the next play, Paul Robinson was hit hard by number 58 Doug Satcher, and he fumbled. He recovered the ball, but in his own end zone, this gave Boston a safety and a 2-point lead. Then rookie quarterback Tom Sherman got moving in the second period and passed his team quickly downfield to set up a 27-yard Gino Cappelletti field goal. This put the Patriots in front 5-0. Sherman continued to look like anything but a rookie quarterback. On this play, he elusively scrambled around until he found number 82, Jim Whalen, with an 11-yard touchdown pass. The defense held and forced a Cincinnati punt. Only it turned out not to be a punt. Rex Keeling, number 44, vainly threw the ball, but no one was around to catch it. Then Tom Sherman completely faked out the Bengals with a bootleg and picked up 10 yards. Next, he threw a pinpoint pass to Gino Cappelletti, who's the oldest man on the team and maybe the wisest. And the Patriots increased their lead to 19-0. The Bengals didn't gain a yard in the next 3 plays and were forced to punt. R.C. Gamble, a shifty rookie from South Carolina State, picked up 15 yards on this burst through the middle. Then Big Jim Nance rumbled over from the 5 for a 26-0 lead at halftime. The Bengals made a move in the third quarter. It was 4th and 1, and Rex Keeling dropped back to punt. He ran instead and picked up the first down, even though his journey came to a rather abrupt halt. Then Stofa threw a beautiful touchdown pass to number 38 Estes Banks. This made it 26-7 and put a little life in the Bengals, but not enough. Sherman threw his 3rd touchdown pass of the day, and Jim Whalen was there again. He made a nice move after the catch and fell over the goal line with the Patriots' 33rd point. Cincinnati managed to score one more time. Stofa led Rod Sherman with a perfectly thrown pass, and the speedy flanker made a nice catch to round out the scoring. Then suddenly, the Boston fans went wild. They had their first win in 6 games and just couldn't resist congratulating their team in person. They stormed onto the field and caused the game to be called with 5 seconds left. The final score was 33-14, and the Boston fans were happy again. The Western Division race of the American Football League is far from over. Although Oakland and Kansas City are tied for first place, the final outcome depends on San Diego, a game behind the leaders. The Chargers play the first place teams on the last 2 weekends of the season. And if San Diego plays like it did against the Broncos, there could be a 3-way tie. From the opening kickoff, it was obvious that the San Diego Chargers were going to wipe last week's miserable performance off the memory of sports fans everywhere. Denver fumbled the kickoff, and for the next 20 minutes, it was all San Diego. First, there was the short pass from John Hadel to number 19, Lance Allworth, and the first score of the game. Then Russ Smith found a gaping hole up the middle, and 35 yards later, the Chargers had a 14-0 score. San Diego closed out the first period with a bomb. 79 yards to Lance Allworth, and the Chargers led 21-3. They opened the second quarter with another touchdown. Again, Hadel to Allworth. San Diego now led 31-3. Where was Denver? 4th and goal in the Chargers' 14. Marlon Briscoe brought the Broncos alive with this toss to Eric Crabtree, and all of a sudden, Denver was in the game. In less than a minute and a half, Briscoe again had Denver in scoring position, and a pass to number 40, Brendan McCarthy, did the trick. The Broncos still trailed 31-17 at halftime. The first time Denver got the ball in the second half, they scored. Number 41, Eric Crabtree, was the final mover. The Broncos closed the margin to 31-23. Charger coach Sid Gilman wondered what happened to his offense. Number 21, John Hadel, had his worst outing in pro ball against the Jets last week. But this week, he couldn't be stopped. He speared Gary Garrison in the end zone, and the Chargers were again 2 touchdowns ahead. The lights went on in Bears Stadium, but the San Diego Chargers were not through with their scoring marathon. Only once more to Lance Allworth, and he would have the Chargers' single-game scoring record. The final score of 47-23 gave convincing proof that the explosive San Diego Chargers were not diffused as Western Division challengers. Now their schedule is easy. They only have to beat the Chiefs and the Raiders. At the end of September, a team from Buffalo beat the New York Jets and then disappeared. After a long search, they were found alive and well in Oakland, where, led by transplanted flanker Ed Rutkowski, number 40, they completely outplayed the Raiders. Number 83, Bobby Crockett's great second effort exemplified the Bills' attitude. The Raider receivers repeatedly dropped passes, and quarterback Darryl LaMonica could not buy a completion, as Rutkowski outpassed him in every category. After a short conference with Coach John Roush, LaMonica suffered one more setback and then finally managed to hit someone who could hold onto the ball. It was Buffalo's number 42, Butch Bird. His passing attack foiled, LaMonica took it to the ground, where number 23, Charlie Smith, gouged out large chunks of yardage. And ended up like Cinderella, minus a shoe. The score at the half was tied at 3. In the third quarter, Warren Wells, number 81, found the stickum, and LaMonica found him. Rutkowski kept the Bills' attack moving with his passing and running. And despite the continued success of the LaMonica to Wells combination, the Raider offense could not score. However, the Oakland defense was another matter. Number 43, George Atkinson, intercepted twice and ran the second one in for the only Raider touchdown, giving them a 13-3 lead. But the Bills were not finished. Rutkowski hit number 25, Haven Moses, and a penalty moved it to the Oakland 5, where Max Anderson bowled over to close the gap to 13-10. Late in the ball game, the Bills were on the move again as good runs by number 32, Gary McDermott, and number 22, Max Anderson, drove the Bills to the Oakland 3-yard line with about 3 minutes left on the clock. But now the Bills were finished as Rutkowski's fumble on a keeper was recovered by a relieved Oakland team. The Raiders' narrow 13-10 win must have caused some raised eyebrows in Kansas City and San Diego. While the New York Jets can relax for the next 2 weeks, this is not the case for any of the front runners in the West. The Oakland Raiders may be the defending champions of the AFL, but if their showing against the Bills is any indication, the Raiders, like the ex-champs of the East, the Oilers, will have to watch the championship and the Super Bowl at their own expense. I'm Charlie Jones.